In Tolkien's universe, orcs are considered one of the strongest factions in Middle-earth. However, how effective would an army of orcs from the Lord of the Rings be against the real-world armies of the Middle Ages? Today, we will analyze orc biology, technology, and tactics within a historical context. The primary advantage of orcs is their incredible endurance. In Tolkien's books, orcs could run vast distances without stopping, subsisting on almost anything. A medieval infantryman is a peasant who wants to eat, sleep, and of course, return home. An ordinary orc lives for war, and its body is adapted to extreme physical stress. However, common orcs have a critical weakness: sunlight. But do not forget Saruman's Uruk-hai. These soldiers do not fear the sun and possess superior physical attributes. In close combat, their fury and raw strength would be a shock to a European militia. Most medieval battles were won by breaking the enemy's morale and forcing a rout. And as you can imagine, frightening an orc is much harder than frightening an ordinary human. Let's move on to their technology and equipment. Tolkien described orcs as beings inclined toward machinery and explosions. Their level of metallurgy corresponds to the late Middle Ages. Uruk-hai wear full plate armor, or at the very least, breastplates. Their shields and helmets are functional, crude, but extremely effective. Orcish swords, scimitars, are designed for hacking strikes, ideal for dealing with chainmail that served as the primary armor of the Middle Ages. But the orcs' real trump card is their siege technology. Ballistas, massive battering rams, and the use of black powder are technologies that did not appear in Europe for quite some time. Their ability to storm castles was clearly demonstrated during the Battle of Helm's Deep. In terms of equipment, Saruman's orcs are several times superior to a typical 11th century army. Let's discuss perhaps the most important part of any army: tactics and discipline. Traditionally, orcs are thought of as an unorganized mob, but in the Battle of Helm's Deep, we saw the Uruk-hai in clear formations. They used pikes 5 to 6 meters long, creating impenetrable phalanxes. European heavy knightly cavalry would find themselves at a stalemate against such tactics. A horse will not charge into a forest of pikes, no matter how brave the knights are. At the same time, ordinary Mordor orcs are masters of ambushes and night raids. In medieval Europe, armies rarely exceeded 10,000 to 15,000 men. Sauron, however, operated with tens if not hundreds of thousands of fighters. No kingdom of that time could long withstand such logistical power. The main disadvantage of an orc army is internal strife. If the leader is killed, the army turns into disjointed bands. Medieval kings could have exploited this by bribing or pitting orc clans against one another. But reaching an agreement with an orc is an almost impossible task. It might seem that without heavy cavalry, an orc army stands no chance. However, do not forget the wargs. Giant wolves are far more effective than horses on rugged terrain. A warg is not just a mount, it is an independent combatant capable of acting without a rider. Medieval cavalry relies on a couched lance charge. Wargs, conversely, attack in loose formations, biting horses' legs and throwing riders. This completely changes the rules of engagement on the battlefield. Let's summarize our analysis. If Sauron's orcs invaded Europe during the era of the Crusades, they would dominate. The combination of Uruk-hai discipline, the sheer numbers of the Mordor hordes, and advanced siege technology would crush most states. The only chance for humans would be deep defense and the use of daylight. Knights in heavy plate armor might defeat orcs, but certainly not in an open field, where pikemen of orc phalanxes would leave them no chance. Orcs are the embodiment of total war, for which the Middle Ages was not prepared. They do not follow a code of honor and do not take prisoners for ransom. This is an army of destruction, not conquest, which undoubtedly increases its effectiveness. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss new historical hypotheses.